Added Tax Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 11 of 2025, also sponsored by the leader of the majority party. The bill was published on 13th March 2025, seeking to amend the Value Added Tax Act Cap 476 to remove ambiguity in the commencement of exemptions granted before 1st January 2024 on capital goods for the promotion of investment in the manufacturing sector and whose value is not less than 2 billion Kenya shillings. Honorable members, the Excise Duty Amendment Bill 2025 and the Value Added Tax Amendment Bill 2025 matured on 19th March 2025 and 26th March 2025 respectively. Consequently, and in line with the resolution of the House of 13th February 2025, I refer the bills to the Departmental Committee on Finance and National Planning for consideration via the notification number 001 and 003 of 2025, respectively. Further, honorable members, in fulfillment of the resolution of the House, you will notice that the bills have been listed for first reading under Orders 9 and 10 in today's order paper. I therefore urge the departmental committees on finance and national planning to finalize consideration of the two bills and submit its report to the House to enable the House Business Committee prioritize them for second reading and subsequent stages. The House is accordingly guided. Thank you. Next.
Order number 3, messages.
Members at the bar, take the nearest seats. Honorable members, I have a message from His Excellency the President on nomination of persons for appointment to various state and diplomatic offices. Honorable members, you may recall that by a resolution passed on 13th February 2025, the House ordered that upon receipt of any name of a person nominated for appointment to a state or public office from the President during the short or long recess of the fourth session, the Speaker shall forthwith refer such message to the relevant committee for consideration without having to recall the House and report such fact to the House on resumption. In this regard, honorable members, pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 42-2, I wish to report to the House that on Tuesday, 24th March and Wednesday, 25th March 2025, being a period during the short recess, I received two messages from His Excellency the President seeking approval of persons nominated for appointment to various state and diplomatic offices. Honorable members, in the first message, His Excellency the President conveyed that in exercise of the powers conferred to him by the provisions of Article 155(3) of the Constitution, he had nominated 14 persons for appointment as principal secretaries as hereunder. 1. Dr. Jane Kere Imbunya, State Department for Public Service and Human Capital Development, Minister of Public Service, Human Capital Development and Social Programs. 2. Regina Akoth Ombam, State Department for Trade, Minister of Investments, Trade and Industry. 3. Cyril Odede Wagunda, State Department for Public Investment and Assets Management, the National Treasury and Economic Planning. 4. Dr. Caroline Wanjiru Karugu, State Department for East African Community Affairs, Minister of East African Community Affairs and the ASALs and Regional Development. 5. Dr. Oluga Frederick Ouma, State Department for Medical Services, Minister of Health. 6. Mr. Ahmed Abdisalam Ibrahim, State Department for National Government Coordination, Office of the Prime Cabinet Secretary. 7. Judith Nayai Ramaita Pareno, Justice, Human Rights and Constitutional Affairs, Office of the Attorney General and Department of Justice. 8. Dr. Boniface Makoha, State Department for Economic Planning, the National Treasury and Economic Planning. 9. Professor Abdulrazak Shaukat, State Department for Science, Research and Innovation, Minister of Education. 10, Stephen Isaboke, State Department for Broadcasting and Telecommunications, Minister of Information, Communication and Digital Economy. 11, Mr. Michael Lenasalon, State Department for Devolution, Office of the Deputy President. 12, Mr. Fikirini Katoi Kahindi Jacobs, State Department for Youth Affairs, Minister of Youth Affairs and Sports. 13, CPA Karen Agengo Acheng, State Department for Children Welfare Services, Minister of Labor and Social Protection. 14, Mr. Aden Abdi Mila, State Department for Shipping and Maritime Affairs, Minister of Mining, Blue Economy and Maritime Affairs. Honorable members, in the second message, members at the bar, take the nearest seats. The nearest seats. Tongoyo, what is your idea of nearest? Right. Honorable members, in the second message, His Excellency the President notified that in exercise of the powers conferred on him by the provisions of Article 132(2)(e) of the Constitution, he had nominated 4 persons for appointment as ambassador, permanent representative, and consular general as hereunder. 1 as ambassador, Engineer Peter Kiplagat Tum, CBS, to Kinshasa, Democratic Republic of Congo. B, permanent representative, Susan Nahumicha Wafula, AGH, permanent mission of Kenya to the United Nations Habitat, Nairobi. Consular General, 1, James Buyekane Mohati, CBS, to Guangzhou, People's Republic of China. And 2, Abdi Dupat Fido, CBS, to Arusha, United Republic of Tanzania. Accordingly, honorable members, by notification numbers 003 and 004 of 2025 issued on 26th March 2025 and 27th March 2025 respectively, I notified all members of the House and the general public of the receipt of the said messages from the President. In the notifications, I refer the messages from His Excellency the President together with the certificate of presidential nominations, curriculum vitae, and other testimonials of the nominees proposed for appointment as principal secretaries to the relevant departmental committees to undertake the necessary approval hearings as follows. Departmental Committee and the nominee. 1, Administration and Internal Security, Ahmed Abdul Salam Ibrahim. Communication, Information and Innovation, Stephen Isaboke. Defense, Intelligence and Foreign Relations, Caroline Wanjiru Karugu. Education, Abdul Razak Shaukat. Finance and National Planning, Cyril Wagunda Odede. Justice and Legal Affairs, Judith Nayai Pareno Ramaita. Labor, Dr. Jane Kere Imbunya. Health, Dr. Oluga Frederick Ouma. Regional Development, Michael Lenas Salon. Social Protection, 1, Fikirini Katoi Kahindi Jacobs and CPA Karen Agengo Acheng. Trade, Industry and Cooperatives, Ms. Regina Akoth Ombam. Transport and Infrastructure, Aden Abdi Mila. Honorable members, the committees are expected to have already commenced the necessary approval hearings of the nominees for appointment as principal secretaries referred to them in accordance with the provisions of the Public Appointments Parliamentary Approval Act, Cap 7F. It's expected that the committees will table their report on or before Tuesday, 22nd April 2025. Honorable members, with respect to the nominees proposed for appointment as ambassador, permanent representative, and consular general, I referred the message from His Excellency the President, together with the Certificate of Presidential Nominations, the CVs, and the other testimonials to the Departmental Committee on Defense, Intelligence, and Foreign Relations for consideration. The committee is expected to submit its report by Wednesday, 23rd April 2025, so as to enable the House to consider the matter with the statutory timelines. Musa, Sirima, and Bowen, you are totally out of order. And Bowen, you are not supposed to be on the phone in the chamber, and more particularly when the Speaker is on his feet. That is grossly disorderly conduct. Honorable members, I also received a third message on 27th March 2025 from His Excellency the President, conveying that in exercise of powers conferred on him by Article 152(2) of the Constitution, he nominates the Honorable Geoffrey K. Kiringa Ruku, MP, for appointment as the Cabinet Secretary in the Ministry of Public Service, Human Capital Development, and Special Programs. In the message, His Excellency the President has also nominated Ms. Hannah Wendot Cheptumo for appointment as the Cabinet Secretary in the Ministry of Gender, Culture, the Arts, and Heritage. Honorable members, the President now seeks the approval of the nominees by this House. In this regard, and pursuant to the provisions of Section 8 of the Public Appointments Parliamentary Approval Act, Cap 7F, as read together with Standing Order 423, I hereby refer the third message from the President, together with the CVs of the nominees, to the Committee on Appointments for consideration. Honorable members, Section 8 of the Public Appointments Parliamentary Approval Act, Cap 7F, provides that unless otherwise provided in law, the committee to which such nomination is referred shall consider the matter and table a report in the House within 28 days. In this regard, the Committee on Appointments is expected to immediately commence the approval, hearing, and report back to the House by Thursday, 24th April 2025, to allow consideration by the House within the statutory time. I thank you. Next. Honorable members, before the next order, allow me to recognize a delegation of staff from the Department of Administration of the Parliament of Ghana. I wish to acknowledge the presence of a delegation of 7 staff from the Department of Administration of the Parliament of Ghana sitting in the Speaker's Gallery to observe the House proceedings. Honorable members, the delegation is on a benchmarking visit to share experience on best practices and operations of the administrative processes within the National Assembly. On my behalf and on behalf of the House, I welcome the delegation to the National Assembly and wish them well during their visit. Equally honorable members, in the Speaker's Gallery, I welcome Tembo Girls Secondary School from Sotik, Bomet, Lanet Umoja Junior School from Bahati, Nakuru, and in the public gallery, Kianjuki Junior School from Runyenjes, Embu, Mulot Boys High School from Bomet East, Bomet, Mogotio Little Friends Academy from Mogotio, Baringo. On my behalf and on behalf of the House, we welcome the students and their teachers to the House of Parliament. Next order.
Order number 4, petitions. Order number 5, papers.
Hold on, Bayer. Before you lay your papers, the member for Sotik. Ambassador Sigei has requested me to give him 1 minute to welcome one of the schools that I've mentioned. Go ahead, Sigei.
Mr. Speaker, sir,
Not just your school, but all the schools in the gallery.
most obliged, Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I want to take this opportunity to thank you for giving me this time to welcome all the students from all the schools in this republic because they are our visitors, Mr. Speaker. Of special mention, Mr. Speaker, is Tembwa Girls, which comes from my constituency. And Mr. Speaker, I want to mention that it's a very good school. It's a school which I was part of the construction when I was in administration. And Mr. Speaker, I want to laud the management of Tembwa Secondary School, Tembwa Girls, and wish them well. I want to ask the students to know that this house, the house of making the laws of this country, belongs to them. And they are most welcome. Mr. Speaker, on behalf of our fellow members here and people of Sotik, I want to welcome them most warmly. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, Majority Leader Owen.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the House today, Tuesday, April 1st, 2025. A, reports of the Auditor General and financial statements of the National Government Constituencies Development Fund, NGCDF, for the year ended 30th June 2025, and the certificates therein in respect of the following 55 constituencies. 1, Awendo. 2, Baringo, Bomachoge, Chache, Chesumei, Eldas, Embakasi East, Embakasi North, Emurua, Dikir, Fafi. 10, Gatundu South, Gem, Gishugu, Githunguri, Isiolo South, Kangundo, Karachuonyo, Kinangop, Kisumu West, at 20, Kitutu Chache North. Kwanza, Lafey, Laikipia East, Laikipia North, Laikipia West constituency, Loima constituency, Lugari, Makadara, Mandera South at number 30, Mandera West. Marakwet East, Masinga, Mavoko, Moyale, Mumias East, Mwingi North, Nakuru North Town East, Ndaragwa, Nyakach, Nyali, Nyando, Nyaribari Chache, Nyaribari Masaba, Rangwe, Rongai, Roysambo, Roiru, Samburu East, Samburu West, Sirisia, Teso South, Tinderet, Tarbo, Turkana North, and Nyata at number 55. Honorable Speaker, the Draft Parliamentary Service Center B, the Draft Parliamentary Service Center for Parliamentary Studies and Training Regulations 2024. I thank you, Honorable Speaker, and I beg to lay.
Next. Chairman, Budget. As you have made an official
Thank you, Honorable
duty
Speaker.
on the floor.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the House today, Tuesday, 1st April 2025. A report of the Budget and Appropriations Committee on its consideration of the Division of Revenue Bill, National Assembly Bill number 10 of 2025. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Atandi. Chairperson, Committee on National Government Constituency Development Fund, Sirma.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the House today, Tuesday, 1st of April, 2025. Report of the Committee on National Government Constituency Development Fund on the nominees to the National Government Constituency Development Fund committees for 63 constituencies. Mr. Speaker, I beg to lay.
Thank you. Departmental Committee on Defense, Intelligence and Foreign Relations, Chair. Bashir, you are the Vice Chair, right?
Yes, Honorable Speaker.
Go ahead.
Honorable Speaker,
I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the House today, Tuesday, 1st April 2025. Reports of the Advisory Committee on Defense, Intelligence and Foreign Relations on the following. 1. Budget implementation oversight for the financial year 2023-2024 for the following state departments. Vote 1053, State Department for Foreign Affairs. Vote 1054, State Department for Diaspora Affairs. And vote 1221, State Department for East African Community. 2, its consideration of the ratification of a treaty establishing the Intergovernmental Authority on Development, IGAD. 3, inspection visit to Kenyan embassies in the United Arab Emirates and the state of Qatar conducted from 7 to 13 November 2024. And participation in the diaspora mobile consular services. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Next.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
Leader of the Minority Party.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I beg to give notice of motion on extension of the time for recruitment of persons for appointment as the chairpersons and members of the IBC. Aware that by the Gazette Notice number 1901 and 2543, dated 14th February 2023 and 1st March 2023, respectively, His Excellency the President declared one vacancy for the position of the chairperson of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IEBC, and 6 vacancies for the position of members of the IEBC. Further aware that by the Gazette Notice number 715 of 27th January 2025, His Excellency the President appointed members of the selection panel for the recruitment of the nominees for appointment as the chairperson and members of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission. Noting that upon the appointment, the selection committee commenced the recruitment process and long-listed all applicants and subsequently shortlisted qualified applicants for the positions of chairperson and members of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission. Further noting that paragraph 6.1 of the first schedule to the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission Act, Cap 7C, provides that the selection panel shall finalize the recruitment exercise within 90 days of its appointment and forward the names of the nominees to the President. Conscious that the selection panel is currently undertaking the interviews of the shortlisted candidates for the positions of chairperson and members of the IEBC, and that given the interview schedule of all shortlisted applicants, the panel has inadequate time to conclude the recruitment process. Further conscious of the need for the selection panel to ensure the recruitment process complies with the constitutional principles of regional balance, representation of the youth, and overall inclusivity, while ensuring that the interviews are conducted as far as practicable within the official working days and hours. Now, therefore, pursuant to the provisions of paragraph 6.2 of the first schedule to the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission Act, Cap 7C, the House of Parliament resolved to extend the tenure of the selection panel to the recruitment of persons for appointment as chairperson and members of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission for a period of 14 days from 27th April 2025. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Jeanette. Next, Chairperson, NGCDF. Give your notice of motion.
Mr. Speaker, I wish to give the notice of motion. To give notice of the following motion: that this House adopts the report of the Committee of the National Government Constituency Development Fund laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, 1st April 2025, pursuant to the provision of Section 43(4) of the National Government Constituency Development Fund Act 414A and paragraphs 5, 2, and 10 of the National Government Constituency Development Fund Regulations 2016, approves the list of nominees for appointment to the following 63 constituency committees of the National Government Constituency Development Fund. Mr. Speaker, Ainapkoi constituency, Aldai constituency, Alego Usonga constituency, Bahati, Bamachoge, Borabu, Bomet East, Borabu constituency, Budalangi constituency, Bura, Chepalungu, Molo, Chesumei, Embakasi North, Embakasi West, Mgwen constituency, Emuria Digir, Gishugu constituency, Igembe North, Isiolo North, Kaloleni constituency, Keses constituency, Kibwezi East constituency, Kibwezi West constituency, Kieni constituency, Kilgoris constituency, Kiminini constituency, Kinango constituency, Konoin constituency, Langata constituency, Lari, Lukuyani, Limuru, Malava, Mandera South, Marakwet East, Mavoko constituency, Mbere North constituency, Mboni constituency, Mogotio constituency, Soy constituency, Subukia constituency, Tharaka constituency, Tarbo constituency, Westlands constituency, Molo constituency, Mosop constituency, Mwingi West constituency, Narok West constituency, Ndiwa constituency, Njoro constituency, North Imenti constituency, North Hor constituency, North Mugirango constituency, Nyakach constituency, Nyeri Town constituency, Subukia constituency, Pokot South constituency, Rongai constituency, Ruaraka constituency, Ruiru constituency, Sigawet Soin constituency, Suba South constituency, Tetu constituency, Tinderet constituency, and Voi constituency. Mr. Speaker, I beg the House to approve these names which are appended on the order paper today so that we can be able to, which is listed, the various names on the order paper, Mr. Speaker, so that we can be able to operationalize the constituency development fund in the various constituencies.
Sirma,
Yes.
when you give a notice of motion,
Yes.
you simply read what the motion says
Okay.
and you end up there.
Thank you.
Thank you. Chairperson, Departmental Committee on Defense, Intelligence, and Foreign Relations.
Honorable Speaker, I have 4 notices of motion. Notice of motion, ratification of the treaty establishing Intergovernmental Authority on Development, IGAD. Honorable Speaker, I beg to give notice of the following motion, that this House adopts the report of the Development Committee on Defense, Intelligence, and Foreign Relations on its consideration of the treaty establishing the Intergovernmental Authority on Development, laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, 1st April 2025, and pursuant to the provision of Section 8(4) of the Treaty Making Ratification Act 2012, approves the ratification of the treaty establishing the Intergovernmental Authority on Development. 2, notice of motion, inspection visit to Kenyan embassies in the United Arab Emirates and the State of Qatar. Honorable Speaker, I beg to give notice of the following motion, that this House adopts the report of the Committee on Defense, Intelligence, and Foreign Relations on inspection visit to Kenyan embassies in the United Arab Emirates and the State of Qatar, laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, 1st April 2025. Participation in the diaspora mobile consular services. Honorable Speaker, I beg to give notice of the following motion, that this House adopts the report of the Departmental Committee on Defense, Intelligence, and Foreign Relations on its participation in the diaspora mobile consular services exercise in Texas, USA, laid in the on the table of the House Tuesday, 1st April 2025. I have one more left, Honorable Speaker.
Go ahead.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to give notice of the following motion, that this House adopts the report of the Development Committee on Defense, Intelligence, and Foreign Relations on budget implementation monitoring for the financial year 2023-2024 for the following state departments, laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, 1st April 2025. 1, vote 1053, State Department for Foreign Affairs. Vote 1054, State Department for Diaspora Affairs. And vote 1221, State Department for East African Community. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Bashir. Next order.
Order number 7, questions and statements.
Majority Leader.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 44.2a, I rise to give the following statements on behalf of the House Business Committee, which met today, Tuesday, 1st April 2024, to prioritize business for consideration during the week. Honorable Speaker, from the onset, allow me to officially welcome members back from the short recess. I trust that members are well rejuvenated and ready for this new session. As we embark on the business ahead of us, Honorable Speaker, we still have a significant number of good legislative proposals, bills and other statutory instruments that most certainly need our keen attention. Therefore, the collective effort of every member and every committee is critical for the realization of our constitutional mandate bestowed upon us by the people of Kenya. Honorable Speaker, as members may recall, before we went on recess, I undertook to schedule the appearance of cabinet secretaries before this House to reply to members' questions and provide reports. In this regard, I wish to convey that in accordance with the provisions of Standing Order 42A, 5 and 6, the Cabinet Secretary for Interior and National Administration, the Honorable Onesmus Kipchumba Murkomen, is scheduled to appear before the House during the afternoon sitting of tomorrow, Wednesday, 2nd April 2025, to respond to questions as follows. So, Honorable Speaker, the following and members, the following questions will be replied to tomorrow by the Honorable Onesmus Kipchumba Murkomen, the CS for Interior National Administration. Question by private notice number 005-2025 by the member for Tiati, the Honorable William Kamket, MP, regarding reviewing academic and other qualifications for the appointment of chiefs and assistant chiefs in marginal areas in the country. Question number 6 of 2025 by the member for Tiati, again, the Honorable William Kamket, MP, regarding actions taken by the ministry against police officers who were involved in the incident that led to indiscriminately shooting of cows belonging to Mr. Tesio Chepande of ID number 34184906 in Lemuyek Village, Chemuro sublocation. Question number 7, Honorable Speaker, by the member for Bumula, the Honorable Wanami Wamboka, MP, regarding the report on funds the government has spent to acquire and implement the electronic travel authorization, the FTA, the ETA system. Question number 26, 2025, by the member for Kilome, the Honorable Thaddeus Nzambia, MP, regarding the criteria used to gazette Nzai sublocation in Makueni constituency via Gazette Notice number 17 of 2024, contrary to the agreement made by the community to retain Nzai sublocation in Kilome constituency. Question number 27 of 2025 by the member for Kuresoi South, the Honorable Joseph Tonui, MP, regarding status reports on the operationalization of the administrative units in Kuresoi South constituency. Question number 28 of 2025 by the member for Isiolo, the Honorable Mumina Bonaya, MP, regarding update on the operationalization of newly created administrative units in Isiolo County that were gazetted in March 2022. Question number 29 of 2025 by the member for Kabondo Kasipul, the Honorable Eve Obare, MP, regarding the measures taken by the ministry to enhance safety and security of residents in Kabondo Kasipul constituency. Question number 30 of 2025 by the member for Gilgil, the Honorable Martha Wangari, CBS MP, regarding provisions of a detailed report on the status of investigation into the death of Mr. Justice Ekimomor Omolo. Question number 31 of 2025 by the member for Nyaribari Masaba, the Honorable Daniel Manduku, MP, regarding status of gazettement and deployment of security personnel to Ichuni Police Station in Ichuni Ward, Nyaribari Masaba constituency. Honorable Speaker, question number 32, 2025, by the member from Mwatate, the Honorable Peter Mbogo, MP, regarding status of investigations into the incidents of security within Sagala Ward in Taita Taveta County. And lastly, Honorable Speaker, question number 33, 2025, by the member from Matungu, the Honorable Peter Nabulindo, MP, regarding status of the investigations into the insecurity incidences reported in Matungu constituency. Honorable Speaker, I urge members, Mr. Honorable Speaker, members whose questions are listed for reply to avail themselves in the House tomorrow to ask their questions. Members whose questions have been listed, please avail yourselves tomorrow so that your questions can be replied to. Honorable Speaker, I now wish to lay this statement on the table of the House today. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I beg to lay.
Thank you, Awen Baya. Next order.
Order number 8, motion, nominees to 63 National Government Constituencies Development Fund committees.
Musa Sirma. Now, when you move your motion, after you get to the word fund, on the last line, you are not obligated to read all the 63 constituencies plus the names. Simply say of the 63 constituencies and the list there as shown on the order paper.
Thank you.
It will be understood. Go ahead now and move your motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the guidance. Mr. Speaker, I wish to move that pursuant to the provision of Section 43(4) of the National Government Constituency Development Fund Act 2015 and paragraphs 5, 2, and 10 of the National Government Constituency Development Fund Regulations 2016, this House approved the list of nominees for appointment to the following 63 constituency committees of the National Government Constituency Development Fund. Mr. Speaker, the names of the various constituencies are appended on the order paper from constituency number 1 of Ainapkoi constituency to Westlands constituency, which is the 63 constituency as per the order paper. Mr. Speaker, these names are necessary for the operationalization of the National Government Constituency Fund, and especially, Mr. Speaker, that we have given the NGCDF board has released some money which are meant for the bursaries, Mr. Speaker. And yet it is not sufficient, but of course you cannot operationalize the same because we lack signatories to these funds because the term for the previous committees have expired, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I know members are having it difficult, and especially the funds, CDFCs in the various constituencies, in terms of paying of bursaries to the students. Mr. Speaker, the amount of money we have received so far is only 14 billion out of the 54 billion we expect to receive this year. And yet we are in the final quarter of disbursement, Mr. Speaker. It is time that the National Treasury releases the balance of this money so that development can go on. We have various classes, especially for grade 9, and also preparation for the next year's grade 10 in the various secondary schools to expand them, Mr. Speaker, that unless this money is released timely and to be able to support the various educational needs in the various constituencies, the emergency needs, Mr. Speaker, especially now there are rains, roofs are leaking, toilets are sinking, and all the other infrastructure which require to be supported by this fund, Mr. Speaker. We need National Treasury to look at it and be able to give us enough funding to be able to disperse to every constituency. Mr. Speaker, I beg to move.
Who is seconding you?
Seconded by Honorable, let me ask Murugara, the chair of Legal Committee.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, allow me to second the motion that this House does approve the various committees that are set out in the order paper so that every constituency amongst the 63 now has a functional NGCDF committee and its functions can proceed and mandate is actually discharged. With those remarks, I beg to second.
Members on their feet, take your seats. Naisula, take your seat. Honorable members, I now propose the question at order number 8, which is that pursuant to the provisions of section 43(4) of the National Government Constituency Development Fund Act 2015 and paragraphs 5, 2, and 10 of the National Government Constituencies Development Fund Regulations 2016, this House approves the list of nominees for appointment to the following 63 constituency committees of the National Government Constituency Development Fund. The list of the constituencies and the nominees is appended to the order paper herein. I put the question. Honorable members, I now put the question at order number 8, which is that pursuant to the provisions of section 43(4) of the National Government Constituency Development Fund Act 2015 and paragraphs 5, 2, and 10 of the National Government Constituency Development Fund Regulations 2016, this House approved the list of nominees for appointment to the following 63 constituency committees of the National Government Constituency Development Fund. The list of constituencies and nominees being appended to the order paper herein. As members of that opinion say aye. Aye. Will those of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Next.
Order number 9, the Excise Duty Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 7 of 2025, first reading. A bill for an act of parliament to amend the Excise Duty Act and for connected purposes. Order number 10, the Value Added Tax Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 11 of 2025, first reading. A bill for an act of parliament to amend the Value Added Tax Act and for connected purposes. Order number 11, motion, public petition on legal recognition and protection of e-hailing motorcycle riders and delivery personnel, resumption of debate.
Who was on the floor? Yes, Okello, what is it?
Honorable Speaker, thank you for the opportunity. I may have inadvertently lost the thread of events because I was waiting for questions and statements. But Honorable Speaker, due to your indulgence, Honorable Speaker, I thank you. It will be 11th time, Honorable Speaker, if you will give a classification of
hardship areas.
Of hardship areas.
Take your seat.
All right.
You have overflowed that issue. Take your seat.
Thank you.
Majority Leader, in the course of this week, ensure that you bring a response or a statement on the criteria for classification of areas of various parts of this country as hardship areas. Jared Okello, the member for Ahero, has been flogging this issue, and member for Nyando. Ahero is your headquarter. Yes, and many other members have been raising similar issues, including the distinguished lady from Gilgil, Mwashako from Tavet, from Undanyi, Katana from Ganze, and many, many members. So are you able to bring the statement on a report on Thursday? Better still, Honorable Owen Bayer, the minister responsible for classification of hardship areas, is appearing here tomorrow afternoon to answer questions that you have listed. If you are able to communicate to him that the House anticipates also a statement on this classification, I can give him an opportunity to appraise the House on the criteria used. Yes, Wanjala. Just hold. Get a mic,
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker. On the same, when they classify a place as a hardship area, they have been discriminatory. They have been discriminatory to other government officers, and they have only been paying teachers. Yet the same government officers, the police, the other government officers, the agricultural officers, the DCCs, the assistant chiefs, and so on, also work in the same areas. So would you also tell us, the House, that actually they will pay any government officer hardship allowance within that area, not only teachers?
Panjala, it will be very dangerous for the country to go that route. Is there any place that can be classified as a hardship for a policeman? Their duty is to work everywhere and protect people. Or a DC. Unless you want to declare everywhere hardship. I will not encourage that. Yes, Gisairo? Yeah? Did I see you raise your hand?
Yes, Honorable Speaker, it was not on this issue.
Or something different?
Yes, because I was...
So take your seat. Yes, yes, Chepalungu. Honorable Mandazi.
Yes, thank you, Speaker. While I appreciate the report that will be brought by the leader of majority on Thursday, I equally want to put myself. I had done a petition, and I would wish maybe then we get to know how far the petition has gone.
On the same issue?
Yes, on the same issue.
Mwashako? Give Honorable Mwashako the mic.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I just wanted to praise the House that this House approved a petition to make Undanyi, Taveta, and parts of Mwatate constituency to be hardship for our teachers. After this House approved, Honorable Speaker, I'm expecting the minister who is coming in tomorrow to, if not to declare any other place hardship, at least declare the one that this House had approved, Honorable Speaker.
Mwashako.
Thank you.
Your constituency is one of the greenest and most beautiful parts of this country. Is it hardship, really?
And that is the misnomer around this issue, Honorable Speaker.
Yes.
We did a petition, and the TSC and an interministerial team visited Taita Taveta.
Yes.
And particularly my constituency. 40% of my constituency happens to be the highlands.
Yes.
That receives moderate rainfall. But the 60% of my constituency is extremely hardship. And not only hardship, Honorable Speaker, we are the worst in terms of human-wildlife conflicts, claims and challenges and killings, Honorable Speaker. So therefore, Honorable Speaker, it can deceive when you come to Undanyi town and imagine that the constituency is evergreen. It's only a fraction.
Yes.
And then, Honorable Speaker, if you allow me to add, there are parts of Mwatate, I agree with Honorable Wanjala, to the extent that sometimes they will take as constituency to be hardship and leave out just a zone, a small fraction of that constituency, and this creates an imbalance where no teacher wants to work in that area, Honorable Speaker. And I'm talking about Ronge zone in Mwatate constituency. And that's why I, as the minister comes, Honorable Speaker, and I truly want to beseech you to support Taita Taveta, that's Mwatate, Ronge, Undanyi, and Taveta, because this House pronounced itself in last term that those areas require to be hardship for our teachers. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Katana. Give to Katana. Next to you. Yes.
Asante Bwana Spika. Kwanza nataka nisahishe, mimi ni mbunge wa Kaloleni na si Ganze. Ganze yuko hapa. Bwana Spika, mwaka jana niliuliza swali kuhusu mambo ya sehemu ambazo ziko na ugumu, na ukatoa mwelekeo wakati huo, ukamwambia kiongozi wa wengi aweze kuleta majibu. Sasa imefika Bwana Spika, ni zaidi ya miezi 6 tangu useme maneno hayo, kwa sababu ukiangalia jirani yangu Ganze imesajiliwa kama sehemu ambayo ni ngumu zaidi, na Ganze na Kaloleni wanapata shida zile zile ambazo watu wa Ganze wanapata. Kwa hivyo Bwana Spika, kiongozi wa wengi ajue kwamba kuna watu alichukulia swala hilo umuhimu zaidi, kwa sababu kuna watu wetu wengi ambao wanaumia, haswa sehemu za Kayafungo, Mwanamwinga na Mariakani na Kaloleni. Asante Bwana Spika.
Tende Mwale.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, as much as my colleagues are more concerned about the hardship areas, I think it's prudent that we don't preempt or try to coach the minister on what the minister should tell us. So we leave it at that. We move to the next order and we listen to the minister tomorrow. Thank you very much.
Yes, Hassan. Thank you, Tindi, for helping the chair. Hassan.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I fully agree with you that, in fact, this has been overstretched in the fact that there are some really troubled places which need, staff need some support. There are arid areas that need some help. But to be honest, I find that in this House we're getting a bit greedy, in the sense that places, beautiful places like Taita Taveta, are demanding to be included in this category, and many other places. Let's be fair to underdeveloped areas of our country that really need support in that sense, rather than overstretching ourselves to include every district in our country.
Chonga.
Thank you.
Thank you, Speaker. This subject is very interesting, Mr. Speaker. As much as you can see that Taita Taveta is green, I'm very sure Kwale there is very dry. The challenge comes in, and I'm actually a victim of this. The challenge comes in that most teachers like to be transferred to the hardship areas. So it leaves the greener area very much vulnerable. You find performance in the areas where it's green is vulnerable because there are no sufficient teachers, there are no sufficient facilities. All the teachers are moving to the hardship areas. This is a matter that needs to be addressed. It has highly affected Kilifi South in a big way. So I think as we wait for this, for the minister to come and address this issue, we actually need to take it as a parliament to address that, so that some areas are not left as enclaves. Thank you, Speaker.
Honorable Kainan.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mr.
Speaker, the term hardship and hardship allowance has been abused over the years. Speaker, can I request for your protection from my good neighbor here? Mr. Speaker, I said the term hardship and hardship allowance has been abused, just like sessional paper number 10 of 1965 has been abused. It is the high time that we think out of the box and accept the reality that Kenya is a country of diverse environmental, climatic conditions, Mr. Speaker. And this reality, once it sinks, just like right now what is happening to equalization. Mr. Speaker, you are a renowned constitutional lawyer. I want you just to reflect on these abuses and clamor for every area to be defined as a hardship area and everybody to get hardship allowance vis-a-vis what has happened to equalization. Then when shall we have a country united by its diversity? Mr. Speaker, as the minister comes, I want to plead. Let's bring this thing to an end once and for all. You remember, Mr. Speaker, over the last few years, the issue of teachers and posting of teachers actually to regions in northern Kenya has been abused just because of the allowances or even because of the definition. Isn't it the high time that we as the leadership, in particular members of the National Assembly here, accept that Wajir is different from Baringo, Wajir is different from Laikipia, Laikipia is different from Bungoma, Mombasa is different from Nairobi. This reality must sink in our heads so that we have a country that depends on the strength of its diversity, the diversity of the people, the diversity of its climatic condition. Mr. Speaker, somebody said, and this is my remark, my concluding remark. If you look at Kenya, Kenya has the 8 wonders of the world. You have regions that are as semi-arid as where we come from. We have coastal region, we have mountainous areas, we have the plainland, we have the Rift Valley. Mr. Speaker, this reality, these regions cannot be the same. So I want to plead with the leadership and whoever is going to bring this answer tomorrow to be firm, to be decisive, and once and for all, bring this issue to rest that has been abused. I support, Mr. Speaker.
Go on.
Constitution, Mr. Speaker, the current constitution, I remember you are there. One of the things that we fought for, Mr. Speaker, under the current constitution, some people wanted pure presidential system, and you know, others wanted a pure parliamentary system. But for those of us who have suffered as a result of as a result of the old constitution, Mr. Speaker, coined the idea of having devolution, equalization. Devolution, I'm sorry to say, it's not working as expected. Equalization has been abused. The definition of arid and semi-arid areas and these other hardship areas has been abused. Then, when are we going to have a country with equity, a country with the same development of phase, a country that appreciates the uniqueness of every region? Mr. Speaker, under your leadership, and I know you have done a lot. Today, your members maybe are not aware that the Supreme Court, on the issue of NCDF, I don't know whether my good friend here, who is also a seasoned lawyer, is briefing to the Supreme Court decision. Mr. Speaker, that conclusion on the CDF and many other things defines certain things within our governance structure. Mr. Speaker, I want to believe with you under your leadership. Don't leave it to the CSs. Can you guide them to bring this thing to an end once and for all so that there is predictability, there is certainty, and there is a guarantee of what happens to whoever will fall under that definition? I support Mr.
Thank
Speaker.
you, Pareyo. Pareyo, then Maklap.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to add my voice to this issue on the hardship area. I remember last year I brought this issue before this House that my constituency qualifies to be a hardship area. Why I say so is because teachers are running away from the schools. Because in my neighboring constituencies, they are all beneficiaries of hardship allowances. But in Narok North, we have not had an area that is benefiting for the hardship areas. And when you look at the teachers in that constituency, they really suffer a lot. Because the kilometers they travel, because we have no roads. And when we look at these teachers, when they get to the schools, they have no houses in the schools. So they live in the centers. So the problems they go through are more than what they earn. So I'm asking you, Mr. Speaker, to consider Narok North, and at the same time, I've been waiting for the answer from the minister himself because he came here. I asked that question. I have never gotten a reply to that question. So I stand to say that Narok North qualifies to be a hardship area, and especially when the other neighboring constituencies are benefiting. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I think from the definition of what the Honorable from Nyando wanted is the criteria onto which this classification is done in the country and how it can be applied. Mr. Speaker, if we define hardship place or an hardship area for hardship allowance as per the degree of hotness or coldness, then we are missing the point. So, Speaker, we should actually be defining hardship areas as per availability of road network, electricity, goods and services, movement, transport. We should be looking at even congestion, Mr. Speaker. Even Nairobi here is an hardship area because it is too congested. The cost of living is very expensive. It is an hardship area, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, what I'm looking at is, Mr. Speaker, let us look at the whole country. Today, the cost of living in Kenya is already an hardship for everybody, Mr. Speaker, including where children are born, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, there is critical need to actually apply hardship across the Republic of Kenya so that every person in this country who is facing hardship in any way or the other will be able to benefit, Mr. Speaker. Otherwise, this could be a selective injustice to parts of Kenya. Mr. Speaker, if we have to apply hardship in accordance to degree of the sun or hotness and coldness of a place, Mr. Speaker, then we miss the point in the entire country of Kenya. Mr. Speaker, we need to fix this matter so that, for example, Mr. Speaker, Baringo is an hardship area. But there is one sub-county called Eldama Ravine, which does not have an hardship area, and yet the neighbors of Elgeyo Marakwet, where it experiences the same degree of coldness like Timbarua and Elgeyo Marakwet, they get hardship allowance. It is a discrimination. And then now, employees of the government move from that particular area to other areas looking for a better package, Mr. Speaker. So unless we think about Kenya holistically, then we can be able to have something not hardship allowance, but something that can be applied for all civil servants and employees of government across Kenya based on the degree of cost of living and accessibility to the most basic needs of human life. When we do like that, then we can make Kenya equal for all of us, Mr. Speaker. That is the only way we want to bring this thing. Otherwise, it will continue to become an inequality for Kenya and an injustice for part of the country, Mr. Speaker. Let us think broadly. Let us think in a way that it can be able to sort the whole country, Mr. Speaker. Otherwise, very soon, we shall classify areas as banditry area, and we need bandit allowance because we suffer from bandit allowance. Others will have Al-Shabaab allowance because there are issues of Al-Shabaab. Let us look at for something that will bring uniformity across the country and every employee of government, because of the accessibility of the things that I have said, Mr. Speaker, can work for you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the issue of hardship allowance and areas being declared hardship areas may possibly today be termed a historical injustice. It dates back to just days after independence, when the then Minister for Economic Planning and Development, the late Joseph Thomas Boyer, came up with the sessional paper number 1 of 1965. This is where, for the first time, it was proposed that areas that are productive have to get more resources than the areas that are less productive. And to compensate those areas that are less productive, the issue of hardship was introduced. Unfortunately, even as we speak today, if we go by the way we do our budgets, you will find that some counties that are considered to be more productive do get the chunk of our budget, while those that are thought to be less productive get very little. This is unjust. It cannot be protected anymore, and we should be thinking about it. Number 2, you'll find that there are areas declared as hardship, like my constituency, Tharaka, as applies to teachers and the judicial service staff. Next door is a sub-county known as Egambagombe, which is exactly like Tharaka, and yet they do not get hardship allowance. When we look at it across the country, it is unfair, it is unjust, and it should now be equalized so that areas that are hardship, are less productive, are given more resources to catch up with other areas in Kenya so that we have some parity of some sort. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Wangare, very last. Hiyo nafungia hapo. Wangare wa mwisho.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. The reason you see this issue recurring, Mr. Speaker, is because of the mystery that has been surrounding this issue of hardship area. Mr. Speaker, last term, we asked the same questions that we are asking today. First of all, it was even difficult to know who does the classification. In any case, it was taken to TSC. We thought it is the Ministry of Education. Then it was taken back to the Ministry of Interior, Mr. Speaker. Even to know the person in charge was a problem. That is why you see members feeling very jittery, because this is an issue that has been shrouded in mystery, and the ones that are benefiting, Mr. Speaker, do not want the issue opened up. And Mr. Speaker, you cannot say that the Kenya of before devolution is also the same the way it was in the 60s or the 70s, Mr. Speaker. There are areas that were classified as a hardship area that time, and yet today, with devolution and the development that has gone on, are no longer hardship areas, Mr. Speaker. So this mystery is what the CS must declassify, Mr. Speaker. Let us know the parameters that were used. Do they change? And who does the change, Mr. Speaker? Mr. Speaker, if you remember the issue of the Kenya police when we were discussing their housing, it was applied across the country, Mr. Speaker, because some people would look at, say, Gilgil and say it is not a hardship area. But, Mr. Speaker, there is a teacher from Gilgil town who will need 2 hours or more to get to a school, say in Guashati, say in some place called Dogonoi, Mr. Speaker. But what we need from the ministry tomorrow, Mr. Speaker, what are the parameters? Have these parameters changed? And more importantly, what is the periodic review is applied, Mr. Speaker, so that we know how do you qualify? Because what we are having today, Mr. Speaker, is that teachers are moving from any area without a hardship allowance, Mr. Speaker. Those in the hardship allowance area even bribe their way to stay there. So you'll get a teacher staying until they retire because they don't want to be moved from that area. Mr. Speaker, that way then we'll be dealing with the whole country and be able to make a way forward instead of having this issue over and over every parliament, Mr. Speaker. From last term, from 11th parliament, we are still talking about it. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Owen Bayer, you hear this, all these cries from various members. And from where I sit, it's a question of poor management. When somebody looks for a public job, be it a teacher, a policeman, they say, I am ready to work anywhere and everywhere. Then now you are crying that they are running away. How can somebody run away from his job without authority? It is a question of management, but tell your minister to come and tell us the criteria of classification of hardship areas. The classic case of Jared Okello. If you know the geography of his area, Ahero is not hardship. Nyakach, which is even a better area than Ahero, is classified as hardship. That's what he has been telling us here. Muhoroni, which is a settlement, very productive agricultural area, is hardship. Ahero, ravaged by floods every year, is not. That is the kind of issue that you should be dealing with. So if you find that your minister will have sufficient time, we'll give him tomorrow to deal with this issue for at least 30 minutes before he goes to the rest of the questions. Unless you have any other idea to give us.
Yes, Honorable Speaker, thank you very much, and I share the sentiment and agree with what is being said, although I can see two different sides. But Honorable Speaker, my thinking is that the Minister for Interior may not be the right person. The Minister for Public Service. Yes, and...
is it public service?
Yes, public service.
If it's public service...
Yes. So
the designated minister
and the designated minister is here. Probably we will require him to bring the report here immediately he's sworn in. But Honorable Speaker, again...
Hold on, Owen. There's a point of order from...
Honorable Speaker, what we are talking to now, or about now, concerns a report that was done by a multi-agency team that was headed by Public Service, Honorable Speaker. Now, the report delved into areas where the hardship is deserving and therefore informed a new gazettement of those areas, Honorable Speaker. So the report had already been done by the multi-agency team, which was actually headed by one Mr. Sylvester Bolo. And the report is with public service here. So that is what I have always been agitating for, to be brought before this House for discussion. But I do know and understand that there are many areas that could have been left out in that report, and therefore it will form part of our discussion of that particular report, Honorable Speaker.
Point made.
Yes.
So,
Thank you.
Owen.
Yeah, what I want to say, Honorable Speaker,
Yes.
the Department of Personnel Management within the Ministry of Public Service is actually the right place.
So when do you want to bring the minister here?
Probably if we could plan for him to come next week, I think, but now we don't have a substantive minister in the office. Probably you need to give us time. But also the information I had talked to the previous minister about the same thing.
In the absence of the minister, you can summon the Prime Cabinet Secretary.
Okay.
To come and respond.
All right. So much obliged. We'll write to the Cabinet Secretary, the Prime Cabinet Secretary, to come and respond on the same, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Honorable members, allow me, hold on, Gisairo, to acknowledge in the public gallery the following institutions. Karatina University students, I believe, from Madira, Nyeri. Ngaihia Comprehensive School from Oljororok, Nyandarua. Kimchul Secondary School from Bomet, East Bomet. MCK Wesley Boarding School from South Imenti, Meru. Ndamene Junior School from South Imenti, Meru. On my behalf and on behalf of the House, we welcome the students and their teachers to the House of Parliament. Yes, Gisairo?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I also had expected we're going to have statements, so I wanted to raise at that point. Honorable Speaker, I am following this, following what my chair in the CDF committee has presented here, whereby we've passed a motion and agreeing to the formation of those CDFCs. Honorable Speaker, the reality is we are now in the last quarter of this financial year. While in Naivasha, I remember very well, the CS had promised that he was going to send 7 billion twice in the month of February, and then 7 billion on a monthly basis up to the end of the financial year. Honorable Speaker, as we speak up to today, the board has only received 7 billion last year, and the second disbursement of 7 billion in the month of February, where he had promised to send double the amount. Honorable Speaker, the members here who representing their CDFCs are not even able to give bursary, yet we are done with term 1. University students, Honorable Speaker, are supposed to collect their exam cards subject to them paying fees, and some of these students rely on bursary from CDF. We are being taken in circles, Honorable Speaker. The financial is coming to an end. I have seen some constituencies, CDFCs, even purporting to take photos that they are launching bursaries just to save themselves from the angry students. But in reality, there is no money going to the universities. There is no money going to the schools. Honorable Speaker, this statement by the CS was made in your presence while you chaired that meeting, and we are not going to allow this House to be taken in wild goose chase in the presence of our chair in that meeting and with our Speaker. Honorable Speaker, can you guide this House? What is the way forward in the matter of disbursing the CDF amounts that are balanced? Out of the 54 billion, they've only remitted 14 billion, and we only have 3 months to go. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Bina Buera, on the same issue?
Yes, Honorable Speaker, the issue raised by Honorable Kizairo is very, very grave. Honorable Speaker, you may not be aware that up to where we are, we have some grade 9 students who do not have classrooms, simply because the CDFCs had budgeted to use the money disbursed this financial year to fill the gap from where KPIL, from the Ministry of Education, was not able to provide funds for. We have grade 9 students who are having classes outside, under trees, in tents in this country. Honorable Speaker, the rains have come. In my constituency, on Sunday, the rain swept off a whole school. I do not have money in CDFC which we can use for emergency purposes. It is unfair for the CS, especially in a meeting where you are chairing yourself, to commit and purport to be that he would release money when in reality he knew very well he was not going to release money. Honorable Speaker, we need your intervention in this matter so that we can serve students in the universities, students in colleges, and students in primary schools who do not have shelter. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Owen Bayer, can you liaise with the ministry and report back to the House on Thursday afternoon on the schedules of disbursement of NGCDF?
Thank you. Much obliged, Honorable Speaker.
Now, we had called out order number 11. I'm told, Honorable Kajwang, you moved the motion, and Honorable Jematia, who? Honorable Sane is to second.
Honorable Sane will second. Yeah.
Honorable Sane, you are ready? Go ahead to second the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, motorcyclists, commonly referred to as border, are a very important segment of our transport system. Mr. Speaker, borders offer the last mile connectivity. They are the only accessible and cheap mode of transport in the dark and narrow alleys of our cities and all our urban centers. Most of the times, it is motorcycles that are entangled in the bushes and thickets of the countryside, trying to make sure that goods and services and people are delivered to where they are needed most. Mr. Speaker, border offer employment to our youth. Quite a big number of our youth are engaged in motorcycle transport, making a living and serving them as a reliable form of employment, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, when the committee met different stakeholders and went through the petition 14 of 24 and interrogated all stakeholders, they found that there are 3 outstanding issues in the petition. 1, lack of recognition in law and by transport network companies, Mr. Speaker, by the motorcyclists. They also go through many agonies, including welfare issues, that they don't get the required protection in doing their business. Most of the time, they are being deactivated by the transport network companies without notice and in a very unjustifiable way, Mr. Speaker. Actually, it is, in a way, chastising cyclists without looking at their interest. And thirdly, Mr. Speaker, pricing has been an issue. Despite being such a huge segment of our transport system, motorcyclists end up being passive takers of prices, whereas they were supposed to negotiate and they were supposed to be a force to reckon in our market. They end up taking prices passively. So they were not getting prices commensurate to the work they do. They were not actually getting profits. And in that way, prices were unjustifiable in regard to what they do. Mr. Speaker, out of the triangulation of these 3 main factors, the committee realized that a committee came up with a raft of recommendations amenable to the sector's contribution in the country. One of them, to make sure that they are recognized in law and recognized by transport network companies, Mr. Speaker. Madam Speaker, regulations will help to level the playing ground for different sectors to make sure that they try to get the rules treat every person or every segment of the transport sector fairly and in a very transparent way, so that the sector can at least blossom in a very entrepreneurial setting, Madam Speaker. Further, the amendment of the 2022 regulation that has been recommended by the committee attempts to regulate and provide a safety net so that the players, the motorcyclists, the border-borders get the right protection against those extremes and abuses they have been facing in the past. Madam Speaker, that is to ensure that this sector also is recognized and can do business in a very thriving way without being agonized or mistreated. With those few contributions, I second, Madam Speaker.
He did. Okay, honorable members, I now propose the question that this House adopts the report of the Departmental Committee on Transport and Infrastructure on its consideration of the public petition number 14, 2024, regarding legal recognition and protection of e-hailing motorcycle riders and delivery personnel, laid on the table of this House on Thursday, 20th February, 2025. Those members who want to contribute to this debate, could you press the intervention button? Okay, Honorable now Irene Mayaka.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for this opportunity. And I hereby stand to support this particular report because, Honorable Speaker, e-hailing motorcycle services in this country have become one of those things that are called a necessary evil. It has become a service that is widespread all over the country. Literally every county in this country actually has these services already happening. And Honorable Speaker, I have had an opportunity to also interact with how the legal framework has been done in some of the other countries, especially in Asia and some of the African countries. And I can tell you for a fact that, Honorable Speaker, because of them being able to put legal frameworks and recognition of this particular service, they've been able to even increase the efficiency and security, not only of the service providers, but also of the people who particularly consume this service. Honorable Speaker, one of the things that will really be helpful in this is data protection, because data protection in terms of the people who use any online platforms has become quite a big issue. And I like the fact that the committee has recommended that be one of the solutions to ensure that there's proper governance in that particular space. Honorable Speaker, we are also talking about automated payments and security. Because, Honorable Speaker, it can become very cumbersome if you see an e-hailing operator walking around with physical cash. So having automated payment processes for this will actually be very helpful. Honorable Speaker, I don't know if the committee had an opportunity, because I've seen one of the recommendations they've done is speaking directly to the e-hailing service providers who actually distribute food. So I don't know if they've had an opportunity to interact with what the Dabawala of Mumbai in India have been able to do in that particular space. Because that is one of the oldest, most successful story when it comes to transportation of food deliveries. What the Dabawalas used to do, Honorable Speaker, and they're still doing, because it's a business that has been there for more than 130 years old, is that they collect food from the different homesteads in India and take it to the workers in another area. And it has been reported that they've had 99.9% accuracy in terms of collecting foodstuffs from the right homesteads and transporting the same to the right workers, and then again, still transporting those containers back. So this is one of those stories that I would really, really like for the committee to have a look at in terms of, especially now that they're recommending for us to have a proper way, especially of distributing food deliveries, because that, Honorable Speaker, is a very sensitive area. Honorable Speaker, when you look at some of the recommendations the committee has made, which make a lot of sense, and you can also see that they actually affect different departments and different areas and different ministries. But my worry, Honorable Speaker, and I'm hoping the committee is listening to this, is that under each and every recommendation, they've given a timeline of 90 days for different ministries for them to be able to process the recommendations and bring their reports back to the House. But my question, Honorable Speaker, is because in the recommendation, they do not even specify when they would like these different ministries to start. A ministry like Ministry of Information and Communication, which has been tasked with developing a digital courier services network, could start its job tomorrow. And then another ministry like for transport, which has another task, starts their report writing after 1 week or after 1 month. And all of them have a period of 90 days. If this is not happening at the same time, it means that we will finish this particular parliamentary calendar without an actual formidable multi-sectoral engagement on how this legal framework will have been done. And this will render the work by the committee to become a process in futility. So therefore, Honorable Speaker, I'm really hoping that the committee is listening to this and that they will take into consideration to ensure that if you're having different ministries working on coming up with legal framework that is relevant to the specifications of that committee, then you need to have this happening concurrently so that we can have an actual report in 90 days, rather than not giving them particulars of what they want to process this. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, having said that, and with that recommendation that I'm giving to the committee, I'd like to once again just support this particular report and hope that this is finally something that we will actually be giving back as a gift to the people who are operating in this particular space, so that we make it more efficient and safer for both the service providers and for the people who are actually using that service. With those few remarks, I support and I submit. I thank you.
Honorable Member for Seme, Honorable James Nikal.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for this opportunity. Madam Speaker, I rise to support this report because, Madam Speaker, this report, the petition was based on a very competent view that when the National Transport and Safety Authority was making the regulations for transport network companies, owners, drivers, and passengers, regulations of 2022, they actually excluded motorcycle riders. And on the basis of only that, they did not or were not able to engage them during the process. So that is actually a big omission. And Madam Speaker, I want to say something a little more, because you have noticed, you may have noticed even now, even the implementation of the traffic laws, the motorcycle riders seem to have actually been left. If you look at how they're riding in town, they don't seem to be actually observing traffic regulations. As much as it may be seen that we are being fair to them, they're busy, but there's a big danger. We are actually exposing them. So if you look at accidents that they go through, it is because we are not implementing the laws that protect them. Laws protect people. Sometimes the laws protect you even for your own self. So I was very concerned that even when they were making these regulations, they left the motorcycle riders out. So that's really something we should never do. But over the period, again, the committee has observed, over the period, they realized that the sector has grown, and it is not only motorcycle riders now, there are three-wheeled riders, there are bicycles, and there are even pedestrians who actually has been involved, particularly in courier services. So that we then have left out a very huge aspect. And if you look at courier services, I don't think there's any that actually is doing more work, volume of work, than the motorcycle riders. And again, it has now been realized that it is actually now the most digitized sector. And because of that, they are being digitized. The Kenya Revenue Authority has actually received so much revenue, up to 15 billion in the year 24,000. People who bring an industry that brings that much revenue should never really be ignored or left out. So, Madam Speaker, having looked at those, then you look at the recommendations. I actually support the recommendations arising from the observations and even what we see ourselves. They said that it is now the Cabinet Secretary for Ministry of Roads and Transport to revise the regulations. It goes without saying. If regulations leave out a major player in the industry, it needs to revise, and I support that wholeheartedly. And again, a very important recommendation that they are put in place. When they bring the regulations they revise them, they need to do an impact assessment on what they are proposing. Something that we often ignore when we are making policy changes. The impact it will have on the industry, the impact it will have even the traffic in town. So again, that is extremely important. And then when now we're talking a very digitized industry, then we must look at the issue of data protection. So again, it is important that if we get now them in the regulatory framework and we accept that they're digitized, then we must go for data protection that will protect of them, the people who are using it, the operators themselves. So that is extremely, because when you go into this digitized industry and you give your information, you give so much information, you are not even sure where it is reaching, what it will be used for. So I think that is actually very, very important. Then it is also important that there are a lot of these industries that actually are run from people from outside. It is important that they have local presence. It is possible in the digitized industry to actually run a whole industry without even an office in the country. I think that is something we must avoid. So that, with that, Madam Speaker, I support this report. Thank you.
Okay, honorable members, I can see that there's no one who has pressed the intervention button. So, honorable member for Kwanza, you wanted to contribute? You may proceed then. Any member who wants to contribute, please press the intervention button.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity. And much as I haven't read so much the report on this, but given that this particular sector actually is one of the biggest sector in the economy of this country. There's a huge population that actually are on this border issue. And therefore, I think also, as the last speaker has just spoken, we have to have at least headquarters for border so that be able to know just how much money we can be able to, how much revenue can be able to get from this particular sector for the benefit of our country, and therefore we'll be able to have, to recognize this particular sector so that it can be able to at least, whoever is participating in it, actually participate positively on the same thing. Secondly, given that it's a sector that actually gives the best services in this country, again, we should have the regulation that can be able to guard this particular sector, because as it is, Madam Speaker, border is just a hazard. Anybody, even you and me, can be border out there, can be from here, you can be able to do whatever they can do. But I think let's have at least this sector legalized so that whoever gets involved actually is actually registered. We know who is from where, so that can be able to trace, if there's anything else, you can trace the actor on the same thing. Because what happens is that border you have an accident that they have caused and they disappear. You can't even get them. And therefore, I think it's only good that to be able to, when somebody buys a motorcycle, whatever it is, he's actually registered, so that can be able to know exactly where he's operating from. And if anything happens, as it happens every other day, you can be able to trace this particular individual and be able to do whatever act, either for reward or whatever it is. So given that kind of thing, the Speaker, I think this is important that we actually register and legalize this particular operation, which is not. I've had a time to go to Pakistan, and Madam Speaker, in Pakistan, they are more than anybody else, because tukutuku, you see that one, plus motorcycles are all over the place, and they give a very good service. In fact, I think we should go to do benchmarking in Pakistan to be able to know that this particular sector is one of the best sectors in that particular area. I think I didn't go to China, to India, but Pakistan, I think when I went there, I saw they are very organized. And when it comes to delivery of services, they are very good, and they are because they are registered. You trust somebody comes to you and is supposed to deliver maybe some parcels, whatever, or food, what have you, you will be able to give this particular person because he's actually registered. Here they are not. I want to be told whether they're registered or not, and that's one thing that, Madam Speaker, if we don't do that, then we are not actually developing our country. And therefore the economy will be at least, as somebody mentioned, will be actually be going a step up. The other thing is security for this particular one. And Madam Speaker, again, if we don't register this particular individuals operating in this sector, you will see a lot of things that are happening out there, particularly the insecurity and security, because some facts use them to do odd things which are not actually good. And therefore, I think the best thing, again, we do is to pass this particular report, confirm it, and have it actually have the people who are in that particular sector recognized and registered for security reasons. With those few remarks, I support this report.
The Honorable Member for Limuru, Honorable John Kiragu.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I like to support this petition by the Digital Border Drivers Association. It is a very important petition because it addresses very key issues that affect the riders. One, they are seeking legal recognition. We know that it is an industry that is thriving, but for unknown reason, they were omitted when we were recognizing the others who are in the same business. Madam Speaker, these people are the ones that used to deliver various items, including food deliveries. And one of the key things that comes out of this petition is that the transport network companies, there is a mix-up as whether these people are independent contractors providing this service or they are employees of these network companies. You will find that, and it is clear in the petition, that there are times when the riders are given pricing. Sometimes this pricing includes some discounts which the networks have already given the clients. And when they are providing this service, sometimes they wonder whether they are independent or they are employees. And if they are employees, then they should be protected as employees. Madam Speaker, this unfair treatment is one that the petitioners are asking for us to address. And Madam Speaker, the other problem that we have here is that these transport network companies, even if you wanted to reach out to them, they don't have local contacts. There is no telephone number or contact number where you can call locally. Madam Speaker, you are forced to call overseas if you have to complain. It's something that we have to look at, because nobody should be doing a business here in this country if that entity is not registered here. Madam Speaker, they have called for various regulations in this petition, and I think it's important that we help them to make sure that the industry is properly regulated, that that recognition is provided, and above all, Madam Speaker, the people who are in this industry and they are using digital data, it's important that this data is protected, and particularly for those people who are providing that service. You can imagine sometimes when that data is given or lands into people who are not lawful, it becomes a security problem for the people who are in this sector. Madam Speaker, I think we cannot ignore these petitioners. These are people who are already contributing to the economy of this country. They are all asking whether they are three-legged vehicles or two-legged. They are people who are actually providing the delivery or the transport service. So they should not be discriminated just because that they use other modes of transport that are not known as major transport vehicles. So, Madam Speaker, I support the recommendations that have been provided here, and the ministries that are referred, they should do their part so that we make sure that we relieve the pressure that is with this border drivers association. I support. Thank you.
Okay, the Honorable Member for Suba North, Honorable Millie Odhiambo.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I do wish to support the motion, and Madam Speaker, I'll be very brief because I don't want to repeat what the other members have in regard to the importance of that sector in this society, especially now that we are having a lot of challenge of youth unemployment. Madam Speaker, it is actually very significant that we do recognize that sector. And Madam Speaker, the only thing I want to add is the fact that we must relook at our infrastructure. What happened? Sorry. We must relook at our infrastructure. And Madam Speaker, is that you do notice that every time we are constructing roads, we don't take into account the fact that we have riders, Madam Speaker. Yet this has become a very big reality in this country. So, Madam Speaker, one of the things that I'm hoping, I'd want to encourage Honorable Irene Mayaka with the nice energy that she has, if she can bring an amendment that obligates every contractor, or not even the contractor, it should actually be the ministry, that when they are doing every road design, that there must be provision for people who are walking, and there must be provision for riders, Madam Speaker. If it's being done, even in countries next to us here. Ethiopia has been doing not very well, but now if you actually see what Ethiopia is doing, it is putting us to shame. And that's why I'm thinking beyond just seeing and appreciating how much employment that we have our young people involved in, Madam Speaker, we should also look and input on the issue of infrastructure. But the other issue that I'd want to say, Madam Speaker, is that I always look at the issue of mainstreaming gender in every sector. Let us not forget that when we are talking about mainstreaming women, for instance, in leadership, that we forget that in every sector we need to have representation of women. Madam Speaker, that's a very male-dominated sector. And I'm hoping that in near future that would change. Before I joined Parliament, I was actually doing a program advising the government in different sectors. I worked with 7 government ministries on a program called MEINAC, or Mainstreaming in Action, where we were mainstreaming issues of gender, of young people, persons with a disability in government programs. And Madam Speaker, based on that program nowadays, I'm so happy when I see a lot of women in construction, because when we started, there were no women in construction. Now you go to construction, there are women contractors, there are women who are also not just like contractors who are actually hiring work, but women who are doing the real work in construction. And because of the challenges that we are facing, let's not limit women to the nurturing and caring roles only, but let us make it expansive that women can also get in that sector. Madam Speaker, with those few remarks, I support.
Honorable members, allow me to recognize the presence of Kisii School from Nyaribari Chache constituency, Kisii County. On behalf of the Substantive Speaker, myself, and the members of Parliament, we welcome you to Parliament. Thank you. The Honorable Member for Tharaka, Honorable George Kitonga.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, this is a very important motion calling upon the House to adopt the report on this petition, which was presented to the House, committed to the Committee on Transport and Infrastructure, and they have prepared a detailed report on how this petition is actually to be handled. The border sector is usually very restless, and sometimes they get concerned when they hear we are debating things in the House, and the mention of the word registration sends jitters down their spines on the basis that they think we are out to control, regulate them in a manner that will make them totally inoperational. I wish to confirm that what is before the House this afternoon is a report of our Committee on Transport and Infrastructure regarding this petition, which was brought here seeking that we legally recognize and protect the e-hailing motorcycle riders and delivery personnel. These are people who are actually in a forum where you are able to get in, order for one of these riders who will make a delivery to you or who will give transport services to you, including the famous Uber forum. So it is not anything new that should worry the border riders, but it should actually be held that we require a legislative framework where we can have a recognition and a protection of all those riders who get into this forum so as to do business. It goes without saying that border sector is one of the key sectors, one of the key economic sectors in the country today as we speak. They actually form a good percentage of our economic base in the country, and therefore from time to time we have to keep on thinking about them. Remember, even during our campaigns, we had a manifesto that had a chapter on such people who are at the bottom and who have to be uplifted. This is not lost because the government continues to put in place measures to ensure that those people who are down at the bottom, now are gradually brought up so that we have an element of parity and equalization as the country moves towards development. So this is a very important motion. This is a very important report. Let us adopt the report given to us by the members so that we are able, from now henceforth, when the committee brings to us a bill to legalize and recognize these e-hailing riders, we do not have any problem with passing such kind of a law to protect these riders. And also we will continue examining the existing legislation that governs all the border sector in the country, so that we continue to make it better, we continue to protect it. We do not have members of the public seeing it as if it is wayward, that it is a bit lawless, that it is not well organized. In fact, I always commend border sector riders in my constituency, Tharaka, because up to now, they have formed a circle, which is towards forming a bank, so that in future, if they are able to save well and attract more membership, they can establish a small-scale bank where they can make their lives better. And I'm being approached by other border riders from the rest of the Tharaka-Nithi County, so that I'm also able to assist them to come up with such a circle towards having a bank or a financial institution that will continue to empower these very important members of our community and this very important sector of our economy. With those remarks, I beg to support this particular motion.
The Honorable Member for Kitutu Church and North, Honorable Japheth Nyakundi. Then I'll come to you, Honorable.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to put a word on the motorcycle riders. But before then, allow me first of all to welcome the great school, the Kisii High School, to this august house. Being an alumni of Kisii High School, the school that nurtured me and mentored me to be who I am today, the best performing school in Kisii and Nyanza at large, I want to welcome Kisii High School to this august house. I also want to tell them that some of us, through that school, nurtured us to be what we are and to be leaders in this country. So I believe the students that are here today from Kisii High School, 1 or 2, 3 of you will also get an opportunity to be members of parliament, to be doctors, to be engineers, to be teachers, and to be people of substance in this country. So I want to welcome you. I want to wish you all the best. And as you go back home, on behalf of the people of Kisii and on behalf of the people of Kitutu Church and North, kindly go say hi to your people, say hi to your teachers, and say hi to the rugby team that is in the national stage right now. Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you for giving me this opportunity.
The Honorable Member for Imurud Dikir, Honorable Ngeno.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for allowing me also to weigh in on this motion, which is majoring on a petition by the motorcycle riders. Madam Speaker, these motorcycle riders forms one of the vital organ in the transport system in this country. Madam Speaker, they are the biggest and the largest transporters in this country. Many people use the motorcycles. Many of us use the motorcycles even when we are doing our stuff down there. We normally engage them because they can easily access anywhere. They can transport anybody to any place without fear, without a problem, and they are not expensive. So, Madam Speaker, when such a motion, when such a petition is presented before this House, those of us who understand the importance of these motorcycle riders must ensure that we support it and also improve on the issues they have raised. Madam Speaker, the safety of these motorcycle riders is very vital. It's very important. You remember, Madam Speaker, sometimes they are called at night. Sometimes they take customers to dangerous places. It's important that when we fix these particular gadgets, Madam Speaker, it will allow them, or we can easily track them, or they can easily tell from the offices where, or their headquarters, where the motorcycle rider has taken the customer. Unlike right now, where somebody can just pick a motorcycle, do whatever they want to do and nobody can track them, nobody can trace them where they are. So, Madam Speaker, this is important, especially for their safety. Secondly, Madam Speaker, also on the same note of safety also for the theft, because some people have malice and sometimes they want to take advantage of these young men who are riding these motorcycles, take them and maybe in the end steal from them. So, Madam Speaker, I think once we ensure we put them in that bracket, just like Bolt and Ubers, Madam Speaker, we can ensure that the safety of the riders and at the same time the safety of the motorcycles will be assured. Remember also, Madam Speaker, that nowadays both male and female riders are engaged in this business, and sometimes it's very dangerous for our ladies to ride them. And once we also improve on this recommendation, Madam Speaker, so that we, apart from having that gadget of showing where you are, if you want to call it, we can also put trackers that can assist in tracing wherever these riders are, so that, and also have alarms, so that in case of any issue, the alarm can assist in tracing them and assisting them. Madam Speaker, we must also assist these young riders, because this organization has to be improved to have even a circle, a countrywide circle, so that if we can subdivide them into regions and or even counties, but we should improve on their business so that they can do legitimate business, they can do a serious business which it can earn them a living, and especially because most of the riders may not necessarily own the motorcycles they are riding, but they should also be having a percentage of whatever proceeds in those business they are engaged in. So, Madam Speaker, we also need to help these motorcycle riders as members of this House, because we normally engage them, and especially during our campaigns, we normally put them on the roads, we put them at risk, we put them at arm's length. And sometimes sometimes they end up, once our campaigns are over or our activities are over, they end up still on the same trend of poverty. So I want us to also improve on these issues so that we can have them have also a livelihood that can be assisting them. Madam Speaker, just like what my colleagues have said, there are some countries which have proper control of motorcycles. Like when I went to Rwanda sometimes around 5 years ago, motorcycle riders have their own truck. They don't use ordinarily the same truck with the motor vehicles. They also carry at least one passenger. And that is also for safety. So I think also we should introduce even rules that can also help.
You can finish your sentence.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I was saying that, sometimes due to the issues, of course, of economy in our country, sometimes you find a motorcycle rider carrying around 6 people. And of course, it is not because of their wishes, but because of the problems they have. So we will also need to control the number of customers they carry, at least to be 2 or even 1, so that it can be a controlled sector. And finally, Madam Speaker, finally, on the safety on the roads, most of these motorcycle riders are normally knocked out, sometimes by motor vehicles, sometimes by other accidents, or they are met with accidents. And it's very dangerous because most of them die, most of them also get injuries that are very expensive. And we must also put them on just like the motor vehicles, to have insurance cover that can cover both the rider and the motorcycle, so that whatever accidents they have, Madam Speaker, they are properly covered and they can be assisted. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Mogaka, who is he? Okay, he's not here. He had put up his hand. Okay, the Honorable Catherine Amayo.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I support fully our boda riders to be safe, at the same time to be safeguarded, because they just learn sometimes how to ride at home without knowing traffic rules, without engaging further to understand that they carry a risk by not knowing or understanding the road rules. So if we license them and make sure that we have a data from Busia to Garissa, because I know nowadays boda taxis are all over the country. If we do something to make sure that they know that they'll be marked and their license can be taken away if they are reckless on the road, it can help so much to reduce accidents. And that being said, also, they should be insured. Most of them are not insured and do not know that without insurance, even them, when they get an accident, they are going to lose and nothing can be compensated. So I like the motion, and I would love to see to it that we follow this and make sure that we get our bodas well safeguarded. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Yatta, Honourable Robert Basil.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Allow me to weigh into the motion to protect, recognize the alien border riders. Madam Speaker, this app-based riding is going to manage crime because most of the riders will be well registered. We'll be able to track them, Madam Speaker. That is one way to manage crime because most of the criminals are actually escaping using border, Madam Speaker. Another important reason why I support this motion is because of employment. If you look at most of the youth, today they are grappling with unemployment, Madam Speaker. The border riding is not only giving employment to the youth, but also the mechanics who are actually repairing the rides or the motorcycles. At the same time, those who are selling spare parts. So it's important to understand that this is a sector that is contributing greatly to this economy, Madam Speaker. Another good reason why I support this particular motion is because it is border riding is affordable and giving very fast transport, Madam Speaker. If you look at most of the rural areas, they are only being accessed by the motorcycles, particularly while understanding that the majority of the people who are working from the remote areas need to access their workplaces on time. The only easy, affordable, and fast movement or ways of transport is the motorcycle, Madam Speaker. Another simple reason why I support this particular petition to recognize and protect motorcycle is because they boost small businesses, Madam Speaker. If you look at the trend in terms of goods and services, the easy way to be able to boost the small businesses, the mama bogas and other people in the informal sector, they all ride on motorcycles as the most easy and accessible means of transport, Madam Speaker. Another good reason why I also find important to support this motion is because if you look at the rural areas, the roads are in pathetic conditions. Most of the movable assets, like vehicles, cannot move from point A to point B. And the only option left for transport is the motorcycle, Madam Speaker. That is why this particular motion comes in handy to be able to support transport of goods and services in the rural areas. Now, when it comes to revenue generation, this country needs money to be able to generate enough revenue to support both recurrent expenditures and development, and motorcycles being affordable and being majority of what we have as means of transport, particularly for the informal sector. Government is able to collect taxes, Madam Speaker, Mr. Speaker. is also able to sell fuel. Remember, if you look at the quantity or in terms of the number of motorcycles in the country, there are so many. So the fuel they consume can get to a substantial amount of fuel, which is going to generate revenue for this country, Mr. Speaker. I also want to implore on the reason, on one of the very important recommendations that could be anked or that could be integrated in this report is to ensure that the riders are well trained. We need to impart them with proper training on issues with the traffic rules, and also ensure that they observe the rules at the same time, ensure they have safety gears so as to minimize accidents that are associated with the motorcycles. When it comes to the chaos, where majority of people will find motorcycles crowding our cities, we need to ensure when we are making roads or constructing roads, we factor trucks to be used by the riders. And this is going to ensure we get to the level other countries have got to. Most of the first world, where you find they have trucks purely to be used by the motorcycles. Again, finally, Mr. Speaker, we are in a technology world. So if you talk of app-based use or registration of motorcycle, then we are going to align our country with what we refer as exponential age. That is the technology age. And that is going to support what even the government is doing on Wi-Fi's. We have seen the Wi-Fi spots, etc.
Honorable Basil, you want how many more minutes to conclude? 2 minutes. Give him the mic.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Speaker. I wanted to emphasize on the point to do with the technology world. If you look at now, our country is talking of digital superhighways, the Wi-Fi hotspots. These hotspots can only be meant to proper use, not only for those who are doing online writing, etc., but also when you want to talk of border riders, where anyone can seek the use of motorcycle through the app-based system. So recognizing the border riders and more so those who are, that is the app-based riding, is going to support the government agenda on the digital superhighway, which is also going to put us on the same path in terms of technology with the rest of the world. We have seen what Ubers are doing, the Uber rider, how they are boosting the economy, and also how they are generating employment to so many young people who are looking for employment. With those few remarks.
The Honorable Stephen Mogaka, Senior Council MP for West Mugirango.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I thank you for giving me the opportunity. And may I, ex post facto, recognize and welcome the students of Kisii High School to this house, the 13th Parliament, and wish them Jenny Mercies on behalf of you, Mr. Speaker, and the entire House. Kisii High School is one of the premier schools in that region, and only my Kebirigo Boys High School competes with them. Kebirigo Boys, I was launching the bursaries there yesterday, Mr. Speaker, and the number of A's they posted are enviable, and I will be inviting the principal, Mr. Clement Nyangaya, to bring these students here. If you can permit me, Mr. Speaker, to also then contribute on the motion. I support this motion about promoting the border or the motorbike industry in this republic. Mr. Speaker, if there is one informal employer that has made money get into pockets of young persons, it is the border sector. I do not know what we would be doing with our army of youth if majority of them were not engaged in border sector. And in my constituency, using the bursary, I will this year be financing scholarships for border riders to ensure that they ride safely and they have basic first aid skills for their passengers, as well as some basic auto repair skills, so that when they are riding on the roads, they are able to self-help. Mr. Speaker, you know that boda boda is perhaps the only mode of transport that takes a passenger from door to door. And in terms of convenience, therefore, the boda boda sector is the most convenient. When I go around my constituency, Mr. Speaker, whether it is at Miruka stage, whether it's at Metobo, Egesieli, Nyamaya, Nyamira stage, Konate, Sironga, Mubamba, Masobe, Tijapara, Iberes, and even Kebirgo stages, you see a swarm of boda boda riders ready to onboard any passenger to any destination, and they are also very, very affordable. Mr. Speaker, in one of my visits to China, I noticed that the Chinese have upped their boda boda industry, so that rather than being petrol propelled, their boda bodas are solar propelled, therefore making them very environmentally friendly, very cost efficient, and more cost friendly to the users. Mr. Speaker, with our CPC program and the reality now that boda boda is with us, it would be important that the Education Committee considers including in our curriculum basic training for our children on boda boda riding, boda boda management, boda boda repairs, so that some of these students or pupils can be using their boda bodas to come to school and back, which will be extremely convenient. And above all, Mr. Speaker, we need to also then introduce a scheme in this country of how to equip those who want to own boda bodas to achieve their dream. We need to consider what the African retail traders were doing, doing hire purchase for furniture, for virtually everything. How I wish that we came up with a plan akin to the African retail traders model, where somebody can go and pick up their boda boda on hire purchase. Because the Shylocks and financiers in this country have ripped off those who want to take commercial loans to buy these boda bodas. With those few remarks, Mr. Speaker, I support and thank you extremely well for giving me the chance to speak. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The Vice Chair, Departmental Committee, in charge of Administration and Internal Security, the Honorable Dido Raso.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for indulging me. Honorable Speaker, I rise to support this very important motion. Honorable Speaker, they say that what you experience every day becomes part of your culture. And the boda bodas are becoming part of our culture. Every out of 10 riders on the Kenyan road, 7 are being ferried by boda boda. It is affordable, it is easily accessible, and it can access any points that you want to reach or arrive at. Honorable Speaker, the motorcycle has become a major part of the Kenyan economy and also transport lift. Over the years, I think as young men and women in this house, the boda boda used to be owned by a senior teacher, an education officer, or the richest guy who is in the neighborhood. But it has now become the tool of choice. It is basically available across the street, across the village. And Mr. Speaker, the reason why the boda boda has become the transport of choice when you drive around Kenya, the next transport which you must see is a boda. And for that reason, this particular motion, the intent is important. The reason why it has come out at this time is timely. And going forward, it forms a body of important things that we as legislators, we must do. What is required of borders is the issue of order. In the olden days, the reason why it is used to be said, matatu ni matata, it was a transport that was a necessary evil. It is associated with noise, disorderliness, breaking traffic rules, and all that. One honorable colleague talked about Rwanda. Actually, when you go to Rwanda, is when you see orderliness, reduces accidents, reduces so many things that are unnecessary nuisance to the society. The other issue, Honorable Speaker, is the issue of safety. When you visit our hospitals today, and the chair of health will agree with me, every second patient is a boda rider or a passenger on a boda, with head injuries, with fractured bones. So many serious injuries have come about as a result of this boda, the laws not being there, or that order, calling them to order, is not there. This is now where we must call a spade, that we must have something in place to safeguard the society's well-being and also the health and wealth. Because taking one head injury patient to hospital in India will require something to the tune of 4-5 million shillings, which is not affordable to the majority. And the majority will die and they decay in their villages. The issue of pollution and climate change. Finally, Honorable Speaker, if you consider the number of borders we have, the idea of local manufacturing is important, where we must have borders that are suitable to our environment, our terrain, and all things that are associated with even carrying capacity, so that it becomes
You need more minutes? Yeah, give him 3 minutes.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Remember, you must be at a time. I see some members concerned, but these are not ordinary borders. These are borders used for e-hailing services. Those borders you use to deliver drugs, you deliver food like through Glovo, Uber Eats. You remember steers then. What are the safety regulations you need around them? Whether they could be entrapped and killed, whether they could also mess up what they are delivering. This is what we are talking about. So you have 3 more minutes beginning when I've made my last statement.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Thank you so much. Honorable Speaker, I want to say about local manufacturing. If you look at what the borders do, basically it is transport of choice. People used to it to convey food, drugs. Sometimes it almost acts as hauliers. And if in local manufacturing, we design it to such a way that it meets the needs of the society today. It meets what are the needs? that I want to carry a package of maybe 20 kgs that may not be carried on an ordinary motorcycle, then what we are saying, let us design to meet the needs of the time. Honorable Speaker, on the issue of pollution and climate change, honorable colleagues have talked about it, but today, most of the industrialized world are going electrical. Very few are using motorcycles or even cars that are petrol propelled or diesel. In our environment today, we are likely to be most affected by climate change. And if we are going to design motorcycles that are propelled by solar, by gas, by renewable energy sources, then it means we are protecting our environment. Honorable Speaker, finally, it is the issue of license and insurance. The motorcycle riders, it must be made compulsory for them to have licenses and insurance, because either they are going to carry valuable goods for customers or individuals are going to get injured as a result of that. So for that reason, I think this particular motion proposes very progressive law that must be enacted to meet the demand of our time. With those remarks, I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Karoli Omondi, MP for Suba South.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to add my voice to this particular petition and motion. Honorable Speaker, what we are discussing is an element of what is called the gig economy, where individuals on a freelance basis or as a side hustle engage in certain activities. They're actually not very formal employment in the normal sense. So it is a very important sector in modern economy, the gig economy. And most of the border or the hailing riders fall in these categories of freelance or side hustle in the economic activities that they undertake. Let me acknowledge that this is a very good effort, and I congratulate Honorable TJ Kajwang for bringing this matter to the attention of the House. This is the sector that employs a lot of young people, particularly university students and college students. Actually, in the Western world, it is one of those areas that offers opportunities for students to even pay fees or be able to support themselves in terms of accommodation and food. But there are very many challenges. Until recently, in the UK, there was a big debate because the technology companies do not want to recognize these freelancers or side hustlers as employees. They were being, or workers, the term is actually workers, they were being looked at as contractors. Because with a contractor, you don't have the obligation for employment rights. They are not even unionizable. They cannot form a union. They cannot collectively bargain for their benefits, minimum wages, the levels of compensation, even articulate the health-related issues. You know, when you're riding a motorcycle, there are very serious health concerns that an employer should pay attention to. The kits that you wear, the health insurance that you have, emergency attendance in case of an accident, and all those other issues. And many of them have been treated rather badly because you have access to this technology provided by a technology company, but which you don't have control over. The relationship is so skewed that they can actually be deactivated at will, without recourse, without notification, and it has been a very difficult time for many of them. But in the Western world, these issues are being discussed, and courts have intervened, and national legislatures have also intervened. I think this sector is going to expand. Today, most of the delivery is done by motorbikes, but the future is going to be drones. food delivery very shortly, and a lot of other things will be delivered by drones. Now, the challenge there will be exactly the same. Individuals could be able to buy their own drones, but they will not have the technology to coordinate the movement and the circulation of those drones. So there will still be these technology companies being the keystone in that kind of food chain. So again, we need to pay attention and see that these technology companies apply the same standards in Kenya as they do in their mother countries. I think we should insist on that. So that if Uber in Kenya is not treating the workers the same way as they do in England, then that is a no-no. We should not accept that. Because there is no difference between a university student in University of Nairobi and that one at Oxford riding a bicycle or riding a motorbike or operating a drone to deliver food. I think we need to insist on universal application of the same standards. And we need to make a lot of effort to allow local companies also to thrive in this sector. I think all the local companies that tried to develop similar technology have been frustrated. I don't know whether it is by the telco companies or it is whatever the reason is. But at some point there was local content in this delivery sector. Today, most of them, I think, tend to be foreign. I think as a legislature, we need to figure out how to have a legal framework that facilitates local companies also to enter this economic space and thrive. There are usual security issues associated with this kind of business, and many people have had problems with some of these delivery companies. But most importantly, I think at the legislative framework that we
Adam, you need a minute or two? Give him 1 minute.
Yeah, I think most importantly, if you look at the caliber, the category of people engaged in this gig economy, the young people, the legal framework we propose should exempt them from income tax. I think what we should have is corporate tax on the technology companies. Because if we treat them as workers, they will qualify for a minimum wage. Yeah. And the minimum wage, in this country is not taxed. So I think the legal framework should give that incentive, because most of them will turn out to be students, unemployed youths, or young people. I think we should give them a lot of tax incentives. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Kasim Tandasa, the MP for Matuga.
Asante Mheshimiwa Spika kwa kunipatia fursa hii. Kwanza niweze kuwapongeza wale ambao walikaa na kuja na mswada huu wa malalamiko ambao ukiuangalia ni kweli unaona kwamba wale ambao wanafanya shughuli hii ya bodaboda kupitia mtandao wanadhulumiwa hasa na wale wenye mitandao. Ukiangalia yale masuala ambao wameweza kuyaorodhesha hapa kwamba wanafanya kazi kupitia mtandao ambao hauko Kenya, mtandao ambao hawana umiliki, mtandao ambao wanaamua wenye mtandao ni pesa ngapi wataweza kuchukua kwa hawa wenye hizi bodaboda, licha ya kwamba mwenye bodaboda ameinunua, ameikopa, anatakikana alipe deni, anaisimamia kama imeharibika bila msaada wowote kwa wenye mitandao, na ili hali wanachukua fedha vile wanavyotaka wao, ambapo serikali haina mpaka sasa mfumo wowote wa kuweza kuwajumuisha hawa wenye mtandao na wale ambao wanafanya hii biashara. Ni jukumu la bunge kama tulivyo sasa kuona kwamba tunaweza kuweka sheria, kuweka kanuni kama wanavyoomba kwamba tuweze kuchukua hatua hiyo ili tuwalinde. Tukumbuke kwamba sisi kama wabunge, sisi kama serikali, jukumu letu ni kuwatetea wananchi wetu, ni wakutetea vijana wetu ambao wanajishughulisha na biashara na shughuli halali. Sio kutetea wale wenye mitandao mabwenyenye walioko huko nje. Ningeongezea kwamba wakati umefika ambapo sisi kama bunge tungeweza kutengeneza sheria na miundo msingi ya kuona kwamba wale wenye hii mitandao wanapitia kanuni na sheria ambazo tumeziweka, ambazo kupitia huu mswada ni kwamba mpaka sasa wizara inayohusika haija kufanya hivyo. Hili ni jambo la kuhuzunisha na tuwezi kukubali. Itakuwa ni dhulma ikiwa sisi bunge pia tutaendelea kuacha wizara husika bila kuwapatia mwelekeo ya kuona kwamba watu wetu wanaweza kulindwa. Wamesema katika yale ambayo analalamikia hapa kwamba wenye mitandao wanaweza kuamua bila sababu yoyote kuwatoa kwenye mtandao, na ili hali wakati wakijiweka kule mtandao huwa wamejua kwamba wamepata riziki, wana njia ambao wanajua watapata ajira kupitia huo mtandao. Lakini wizara husika na hata bunge hatujafikiria ni namna gani ambao tungeweza kuweka sheria ama kuweka kanuni ili jambo kama hili lisiweze kutokea. Huu mswada umefika kwa wakati wake, na ni wakati wetu sisi kuchukua hatua, kuchukua nafasi yetu kama vile ambavyo sheria, kanuni ya katiba ilivyotupatia kwamba tunaweza kutengeneza sheria ya kutetea watu wetu na kuona kwamba hawadhulumiwi vile ambavyo wanadhulumiwa. Kuna vitu ambavyo pia wameweza kuzungumza ambazo ni jukumu la serikali za ugatuzi, kama vile walivyosema kwamba mpaka sasa barabara zetu hazitambui kwamba kuna watu ambao wanafanya biashara ya halali kupitia njia za bodaboda. Katika mabaraza hakuna sehemu zozote ambazo zimeweza kutengwa, hususan kama vile ukiangalia taxi zingine hizi za magari ya kawaida, utafika mahali waambiwe hapa ni taxi peke yake ambazo zinaruhusiwa kuegesha hapa. Lakini ukija katika sekta hii ya bodaboda hakuna mahali kama hapa. Ikiwa kutakuwa na sheria na kanuni, sio ni kwa nini wasiweze kufanya biashara zao wakati wamesajiliwa mpaka zile sehemu zingine ambazo zinatoa fedha nyingi. Kwa mfano, utakuta katika viwanja vyetu vyote vya ndege hapa nchini, ilani iliyoko ni kwamba bodaboda hawaruhusiwi kupita hapa, na ili hali wana jukumu muhimu, wanaweza kutoa huduma za haraka ambazo gari ya kawaida haiwezi, zinaweza kutoa huduma ambazo ni za nafuu hata kwa wale wafanyajikazi ambao katika sehemu kama hizi. Lakini sheria zetu zilizoko sasa, kipato halali kinawasimamia, kinaweza kuwasaidia na kina sehemu kubwa ya kuleta uchumi, kuongeza uchumi katika nchi hii yetu ya Kenya.